So the RSX has some pretty weird speedometer issues. Sometimes it gets erratic on the speedometer when I'm going like 40 or when I downshift or when I hit a bump. The 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 gauge is just kind of rapidly going up and down, the needle itself. So I think it's the vehicle speed sensor or the VSS dispenser. And so the vehicle speed sensor, the way you would actually take it out or find it is actually, if you take out the intake box, which I've done here, you'll see this wiring harness leading to the back. And there's going to be like a 12mm bolt behind it, and that's the vehicle speed sensor. So we're going to have to pull out the clip, the wiring harness clip. We're going to take a 12mm, take out the bolt, and pull out the vehicle speed sensor and see what's going on there. I actually have a replacement, so I'm going to show you a side-by-side of what it looks like, but for the most part, that's kind of the install today. Just kind of taking out the vehicle speed sensor for the RSX Type S K20A2 engine. It's probably the same location for all the other K-Series engines as well. So this is what we're going to replace it with, part number 78410S6M N01. So this is going to be the vehicle speed sensor for the RSX. All right, so we're going to take out the speed sensor. Like I mentioned before, it's going to be a 12mm bolt. Other thing you need to do is take out this here is the speed sensor plug, and it's pretty dirty back there just because it gets all that sediment. So let's see if we can reach back there, and we can, and we're just gonna loosen it. We cracked it open, you can hear it. We didn't break it, but we cracked it open. Now we're just gonna take a ratchet or a socket, 12mm socket with the ratchet, and just kind of take it out. And there it is. That's the bolt that's holding it down. It's pretty dirty, but we'll clean it up. And then we're gonna pull out the sensor. It's probably hard for y'all to see. So let me go ahead and bring this off the tripod and let you guys get a closer look. We're working our way through, and that's the plug. So we had this little wiring harness, which is brown, plugged into there. Once we took that out, there was a 12mm at this point here, and we've taken it off. So all we need to do is just pull it out. Problem is, it's really hard to pull out because there's nothing to grab onto. You can see there. I've kind of like swiveled it, but it's just hard to like just take out itself. So I'm probably got to get some pliers and just kind of tug on it a little bit. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's a little blurry. Let's try to have it focus in on the plug itself. There you go. There you go. So, flathead screwdriver, pulled it up. We're gonna just try to take these channel locks and just kind of pull it out. So right up here we have the new speed sensor, and this is the old one. So we're going to take it out and compare it. I always want to compare it before we replace it. And you can see it's nearly identical, pretty much identical. Looks pretty much the same except that one's dirty. Has the grease to go around it. The width is the same. You can also see that the plugs are the same. It has little 3 connections there. Everything's pretty much the same except that one's pretty dirty. Comparing the other side, this is the center. This is where the teeth are, and you could see that it still looks like all the teeth are intact on the old one here, and the new one, you know, just brand new right there. It looks like it's also spinning the same, but for the most part, I'm not sure if there's anything wrong with this speed sensor except that it's been 100,000 plus miles, and I'm starting to get some erratic behavior with it. So all I'm going to do is just swap it out. So we're going to reinstall the new speed sensor, part number 78410S6M-N01. Just going to be the reverse order of removal. So that hole there is where the speed sensor was. I'm just going to insert this one in it. And it looks like it's in. It's pretty easy to spin around now. I'm not sure why the old one was so difficult. All right, so new speed sensors inserted in. All we need to do is put this 12mm plug right in that hole and torque it down. We're just gonna tighten it with the socket. So it's in there. So all we need to do is tighten the speed sensor and put the plug back in. I didn't see any torque specs for the sensor. It just said kind of put it in reverse order of removal. Maybe I could look it up later, but it is a plastic piece connecting the sensor, so it's not going to be very tight. So the speed sensor is tight now, and all we need to do is take the existing electrical plug for the speed sensor here. You can see I wipe it off a little bit as best as I can, and you just snap it back into place. Make sure it doesn't come loose, and that's it. Your speed sensor is back in the car. That's how you replace the speed sensor, and hopefully it's going to fix my issue with everything that's going on with the erratic speedometer. But we'll see as I'm driving. But for the most part, this is the vehicle speed sensor for the RSX. It's not cheap. It's these days it's roughly $100 for an OEM one, but you can probably get some aftermarket ones for like $40 to $50. That's it for the install. Thanks for watching, and like and subscribe.